up, we had a phone that was connected to a phone jack. I would call the number needed. Someone would answer the phone on the other line. Hopefully the person I was intending to call and not another member of the household. Sometimes the person would not be home and I'd have to leave a message. That is, if they had an answering machine. Either I'd have to wait for them to call me back or I'd have to call back later. Sometimes I would call and the person would already be on another phone call. So I would get a busy signal. Again, I'd have to call back later. Call waiting was invented so the person could still answer my phone call while being on the phone with somebody else. Then, cordless phones were invented and I didn't have to stay in one place. I could now walk around the whole house while on the phone and not just my little square room. And eventually, cell phones were invented. I could call someone specifically and not have to call the house. So if the person was out and about, they could still answer the phone. I didn't have to wait to talk to someone until they got home. There came lots of advantages when cell phones were invented. Now we can talk on the phone while in the car. And instead of talking, we can even text. But there are a few disadvantages as well. If there wasn't a cell tower nearby, then the signal wasn't any good and a conversation couldn't happen. Well, the other day, we were hanging out as a family and Little Bit pipes up and says, "I wish I could call Jesus." We asked her why when she could talk to Jesus anytime in prayer. She said because that way she could hear his voice on the other line. We talked about talking to Jesus in prayer has so many more benefits than talking on the phone. But I get that. Being able to talk to someone and hear their voice on the other end is comforting. There's something about receiving audible cues that you are being heard. Very reassuring. There are some good things to a phone call that would make talking to Jesus on the phone more advantageous than in prayer. There would be an immediate answer. Jesus could automatically tell you the answer to your question. He could congratulate you when something great happened. He could give advice when needed immediately. You wouldn't have to wait. He could audibly tell you that he loves you. Such amazing reasons to talk on the phone versus in prayer. But the advantages of prayer outweigh that of a phone call. There are no dead zones in prayer. None. When you talk to Jesus, you don't have to worry about losing the connection or hearing static on the other line. There is a stretch of road we drive on regularly. Anytime we are on a phone call on that road, we always lose the call. And in the moments we haven't lost the call, only a few syllables get through. Not even words, just syllables. I like being able to talk to Jesus without the prayer being disconnected. Another advantage is I don't have to worry about the battery life on my phone. Too many times I am at a very low percentage. There are days I plug in my phone at night and it's at 1%. I like to play on the wild side, but I don't have to hang up with Jesus because my battery is too low. I can connect with him at any time despite my battery life. In all honesty, my battery is low if I'm not connected with Jesus anyway. He charges my life battery. Another benefit to prayer versus the phone is I don't have to wait for God to answer the phone. He will always answer my prayer. I don't have to worry about him being on another phone call. I don't have to worry about call waiting or getting a busy signal. I don't have to wonder if God's phone is on silent, like mine always is. I don't have to worry about being able to talk to Jesus because I can't find my phone. I put it down and 2 seconds later I'm running around looking for it. I even have a tile on my keyring because I'm constantly looking for my phone or my keys or pretty much anything that's not connected to me. I can call God through prayer because I don't have to keep track of something to connect with him. There isn't a time restriction to God's prayer line. There isn't a rule on calling between the hours of 9 and 5. He is available 24/7. I always tell my students they can reach out for help, but I won't respond after 9 o'clock at night. God isn't like that. He will listen anytime. And one of my favorite reasons I prefer prayer over using the phone is God isn't too busy for me. He will answer no matter what. He loves me so much and is willing to listen anytime I need him. He will drop what he is doing for me. I don't know anyone that would do that. I know the Hubs loves me, but there are times he cannot answer the phone. My best friend has had to tell me she'll have to call me back later because now isn't a good time. But God, he can take my call now. God doesn't need a phone to talk with us. He doesn't need call waiting or voicemail. We can get through when we need to. The connection is always good with him. There will never be static or dropped calls. He isn't too busy to listen to you. You want to talk to God now? Good. Do it. Don't worry about where your phone is. Don't worry about what time it is. He is there waiting. He will answer. The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. Psalm 145:18. And Jesus tells us to pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. God has listened and has attended to the voice of my prayer. Psalm 66:19. So put the phone down. Call the prayer line. It is open 24/7. He will be there to listen. He will answer. Prayer is so much better than a phone call. We don't have to connect to a phone jack or to a power source. He is our power source, and prayer connects us constantly. He is always ready for your call, only by God's amazing grace. Today I will be hand lettering Psalm 116, verse 1. And I'll be hand lettering the part that says, He has heard my voice. And I'm going to use a small 10 by 10 canvas. And I used a plum, silver, and a stormy blue on the canvas. After the paint dried, then I just used black and silver to do the letters. So join me as I letter.